What would you do if the woman you loved, the mother of your child, was secretly sleeping with your daughter's husband? The glowing screen of my phone, illuminating a text message at 2 a.m. in our quiet Dallas home, shattered my world into a million irreparable pieces. It wasn't just a text. It was a photograph, a blurry image of my wife, Sarah, in a hotel room, her arm draped around a man I instantly recognized. My heart didn't just sink. It imploded, leaving a gaping, freezing void. The air in our bedroom, usually thick with comfort, became thin, suffocating. I felt a primal scream clawing at my throat, but no sound escaped. The mystery wasn't who the man was. I knew him all too well. The mystery was how I was going to make them both pay. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The initial shock gave way to a cold, calculating rage. Sarah had been distant for months, her excuses growing increasingly flimsy. Late nights at work events in downtown Chicago, weekend spa retreats in Miami with friends I'd never met. I, a fool, had believed her. But the photo, sent anonymously from a burner phone, was undeniable proof. It was a snapshot of betrayal, a betrayal that felt like a physical blow to my chest. I started noticing everything. The way she'd clutch her phone face down whenever I entered the room. The sudden, expensive new lingerie she'd bought, not for me, but for him. The subtle scent of a different cologne on her clothes. A scent I now recognized as belonging to Mark, my son-in-law. Mark, who was married to my daughter, Emily. Mark, who I had welcomed into our family, shared beers with at Cowboys games, and trusted implicitly. The realization that it was Mark twisted the knife deeper, turning my pain into a venomous resolve. Sarah, once warm and affectionate, transformed into a manipulative stranger. Her eyes, once full of love, now held a chilling indifference. Occasionally flashing with irritation when I asked about her day, she'd gaslight me, accusing me of being paranoid, of not trusting her. "You're imagining things, David," she'd say, her voice dripping with feigned concern. "Maybe you need to see a therapist." She made me feel like I was losing my mind, even as the evidence piled up in my gut. Mark, on the other hand, became smug. He'd look at me with a knowing smirk during family dinners, a silent challenge in his eyes, as if daring me to expose their sordid secret. They felt untouchable, protected by the web of lies they had spun, confident in my blindness. There were nights I'd sit in our living room, the city lights of Los Angeles twinkling outside our window, and just stare into the darkness, feeling utterly broken. The humiliation was a constant companion, a heavy cloak I couldn't shed. My wife, my best friend, had chosen to desecrate our marriage, our family, with my daughter's husband. The irony was a cruel joke. I wanted to scream, to smash everything, but a quiet voice inside me whispered, "Not yet, not like this." I knew I couldn't confront them directly. They would deny it, twist it, and I would be the one left looking like the crazy, jealous husband. I needed proof, undeniable, irrefutable proof that would leave no room for doubt or denial. My transformation began subtly. I became a ghost in my own home, observing, listening, planning. I installed discreet cameras in the house, not in our bedroom, but in common areas, hoping to catch a telling glance, a hushed phone call. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Frank, from a small office in Queens, New York, to track Sarah's movements. Frank was a man of few words, but his reports were meticulous. Hotel receipts from the spa retreats in Miami, showing 2 occupants. Credit card statements with charges from upscale restaurants in Chicago, always for 2. And then the phone records. A pattern of late-night calls and texts between Sarah and an unknown number, a number Frank quickly traced back to Mark's burner phone. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, forming a picture of betrayal so vivid it made my stomach churn. I spent weeks, then months, meticulously gathering every shred of evidence. I learned about legal precedents, about divorce laws, about the art of social destruction. I consulted with a sharp, no-nonsense divorce attorney in downtown San Francisco, a woman named Ms. Chen, who listened to my story with a steely gaze and a grim nod. "We can make this very painful for them, Mr. Peterson," she had said, her voice calm but firm. I wanted painful. wanted ruin. The traps I set were intricate, designed to ensnare them both publicly and legally. I started by subtly shifting assets, ensuring Sarah would be left with nothing. I created a shell company, transferring significant portions of our joint investments, all under the guise of future planning. I also began cultivating relationships with key figures in our social circle, friends, colleagues, even Emily's in-laws, subtly planting seeds of doubt about Sarah's character, always with a veneer of concern. I wanted the whispers to start long before the explosion. The day of reckoning arrived with the crisp autumn air of a Los Angeles morning. It was Emily and Mark's 5th wedding anniversary party, a lavish affair at a rented mansion in Beverly Hills. Our entire family was there, along with hundreds of their friends and business associates. Sarah, radiant in a designer dress, moved through the crowd, her arm linked with mine, playing the part of the devoted wife. Mark, equally charming, laughed loudly with his colleagues. They had no idea. Midway through the evening, after the toasts and before the cake, I asked for everyone's attention. A hush fell over the room. I stood beside Sarah, a microphone in my hand, a practiced smile on my face. Before we cut the cake, I began, my voice steady. I have a special announcement. A revelation, if you will. Sarah squeezed my arm, a nervous smile on her face, probably thinking I was going to announce a surprise trip. Then, I projected the first image onto a large screen behind us, the blurry photo of Sarah and Mark in the hotel room. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Sarah's face went ashen. Mark, across the room, dropped his champagne glass, the sound echoing in the sudden silence. I continued, my voice calm, almost conversational, narrating the story of their affair, presenting each piece of evidence, the hotel receipts, the credit card statements, the phone records, even a short, damning video clip from one of my hidden cameras, showing them kissing passionately in our kitchen. The room erupted. Emily, my daughter, let out a heartbroken sob, her eyes fixed on her husband, then on her mother. Sarah, her face contorted in a mask of horror and disbelief, tried to speak, but no words came out. Her knees buckled, and she fainted, collapsing onto the polished marble floor. Mark, pale and trembling, was immediately confronted by Emily's furious father-in-law. The social destruction was immediate, brutal, and absolute. The legal proceedings that followed were swift and merciless. Miss Chen, armed with my meticulously gathered evidence, ensured Sarah received nothing in the divorce. No alimony, no share of the assets, not even the house. Her reputation was in tatters, her social standing obliterated. Mark faced similar consequences. Emily filed for divorce, and his career, built on a foundation of trust and integrity, crumbled. He was ostracized, his smugness replaced by a hollow despair. I watched it all unfold, a quiet observer to the wreckage I had orchestrated. There was no joy, no triumph, only a profound, chilling emptiness. The revenge was complete, but it hadn't brought back the man I was, or the life I had. It had merely replaced one kind of pain with another, colder one. The silence in my house now is absolute, a stark contrast to the vibrant life it once held. At the end.